Violet pounced on top of Victor, oozing lust. She wrapped her legs around his waist. He squeezed her voluptuous ass and stared into her blood-red eyes. She looked like she was going crazy. "Drink me, darling." She had an unhinged smile on her face, heart racing, cheeks flushed. Victor began to match her passion. He loosened the shackles that kept him under control. His teeth started to grow as a hungry smile appeared on his face. Violet bared her fangs, delighted. She sniffed his body, sucking in ragged breaths of passion. She leaned close to his neck, bathing it with her tongue. She opened her mouth and bit down, hard. Victor let out a breathless moan of pleasure. He was overwhelmed with a surge of pain and pleasure. "I'll never get used to how good this feels." He took over, pushed Violet up against the wall. He heard the sound of the wall cracking, but he didn't care. Victor opened his mouth wide. "My turn." He sunk his teeth into her neck. She released her teeth from his neck and groaned in ecstasy. Victor felt her blood drenching his shirt, and he loved it. Violet lapped up his sweat as he sucked her neck. Just as Victor was about to rip his clothes off, he caught a whiff of a horrible stench. "What the hell is that?" Violet smelled it too. Her bloodlust and excitement evaporated with an irritated snarl. Victor stopped sucking her blood and activated his vampire vision. He saw two male silhouettes at a considerable distance from the house. They were both human, but just like June the Witch, they had an aura covering them, as if protecting them. But unlike June, whose aura was blue, their auras were golden. That's the source of the smell. These guys stink to high heaven. He informed Violet of their presence, and she flew into a rage. "Those fuckers! They just had to come and interrupt my moment with my husband! Pieces of shit!" Violet's face contorted through various expressions of disgust and anger, as she rattled off words that would make the most vulgar sailors blush. Victor brought his face closer to Violet's neck and started licking off the smears of blood. Upon feeling his flicking tongue, she stopped her diatribe and moaned. He spoke to her in a low, sensual tone. "Calm down, my love. Let's think clearly. I sincerely doubt these people are here looking for us." She moaned again, this time a little louder, biting her lip and wrapping her legs tight around his waist. Their passion rekindled as they devoured each other's skin. And suddenly, Violet pushed him away with a growl. Victor stumbled back. "My love, what is it?" She lowered her head, her breath ragged. "I can't focus with these unwanted guests so close by." Victor nodded with understanding. "Who do you think they are?" Violet sighed. "Agents of the Inquisition, of course." Victor was stunned. Oh, shit. He again activated his vampire vision and peered through the walls with his glowing red eyes. He saw the two men walking around urgently as if searching for something. One of them was also holding an item in his hands. "They're holding some kind of strange device," Violet snarled. "They're on patrol. They have a device capable of tracking vampires. The thing is useless when hunting noble vampires, but for hunting common vampires without support, it gets the job done." Victor raised an eyebrow. "Why is the device useless for nobles?" "Noble vampires are the only vampires who can pay witches to deploy countermeasures for that technology. Of course, there are exceptions. There are ordinary vampires who have been transformed and become rather wealthy." She continued sarcastically. "After all, this is America, the land of capitalism. There are several plebeian vampires with a lot of money here. These agents who are patrolling must be recruits, since an experienced agent would never be so obvious." Victor's interest was piqued. Just out of curiosity, how much does a countermeasure cost? Depending on the witch you use, it could be upwards of $5 billion. Victor opened his eyes in shock. "Isn't that a little high?" Violet answered. "That's what happens when a product is monopolized. Witches are the only ones who have this technology, so they can put whatever price they want on it. That's why noble vampires always invest in maintaining friendly relations with witches." Violet walked into one of the bedrooms. "I'm going to change clothes." She slipped her sweatshirt over her head and straightened her mussed hair. She unzipped her jean shorts and was left with only black panties and a black bra. Victor followed her into the bedroom, immediately turned on. As he headed toward the room, Kaguya appeared from the shadow and stood in his way. He remained calm. What are you doing, Kaguya?
Lord Victor, please don't be a degenerate now. You have all the eternity to feast on each other. You have all the time in the world to practice the act of reproduction, but now is not the time for that.
Victor felt his eyes twitch at Kaguya's words. She's annoying, but she might be right. Kaguya pointed to the room beside Violet.
Please, follow me, Lord Victor.
Victor sighed and followed Kaguya into the other room. On the bed was a change of clothes. Kaguya gestured with an emotionless face.
Lord Victor, do you want help changing?
Victor clocked her eager expression. I'll be honest, I'm a little curious how she would go about changing my clothes, so why not? Sure, if you don't mind. Kaguya's eyes transformed to a crimson red as she lit up with excitement. She suddenly morphed into a shadow energy and passed through his body. The clothes that were on the bed vanished, and Kaguya stood in front of Victor again, now holding the clothes he had been wearing. They're even neatly folded. Everything happened so fast I could barely process it. He looked down at his chest and realized he was already dressed. That was impressive. How did you do that? She held her hand to her chest as a gesture of pride.
I'm the strongest, most perfect maid. That's the least of what I can do.
Victor grinned. What a character. He followed an impulse and began stroking her hair. She lifted her expressionless face and looked at him.
Lord Victor, please keep your hands off the maids. Surely you're not the type to cheat on your wife.
Victor laughed. Is it not the maid's duty to serve her master?
So you are abusing your authority.
She remained stoic and humble.
I understand, as it's the master's order. I can't do anything. After all, the master's orders are absolute, and I am a perfect maid, and the eldest of my sisters. I must be the one to sacrifice myself so that you don't lay a finger on the other girls.
He stopped stroking her hair and shook his head. Lighten up, Kaguya. But also, good job. I was just teasing you, but you responded in an honorable way. Kaguya nodded and gave him a strange, frustrated look. Victor left the room and walked toward the stairs that led to the main level. I'll wait for Violet upstairs. After all, I just heard my parents' voices. I think they've come home. After Victor departed, Violet, who was now wearing a different outfit, appeared.
Kaguya!
Kaguya was startled.
Yes, Lady Violet.
Violet's eyes changed to blood red. She spoke possessively.
He's mine. He's only mine. I know, Lady Violet. I was just surprised. It won't happen again.
Violet's eyes returned to their normal color.
Good.
She smiled contentedly, turned, and started walking toward the stairs.
Lady Violet!
Violet stopped and turned back. Kaguya swallowed.
May I ask, what do you intend to do about Lady Sasha and Lady Ruby?
Violet's body shook violently. She clenched her fists tightly, and the air around her started to heat up. Her face distorted in cruel anger. Her eyes glowed with a dangerous glint, and all her sharp teeth showed. She didn't look like a noblewoman anymore. She looked like a monster hell-bent on destroying the world. Realizing that Violet was losing control, Kaguya took a small green ball from her pocket and crushed it.
June.
June, who was wearing a green bikini, appeared in a magic circle. She immediately clocked what was going on, and without being told what to do, snapped her fingers and soundproofed the entire basement with an insulation barrier. When June was done, she nodded, no longer able to suppress her rage. Violet punched the wall with all her might.
Those bitches!
The wall fractured in the pattern of a spider's web. June spoke with a hint of genuine surprise.
She has an absurd strength as always, but it looks like she's gotten even stronger.
Violet spiraled into deeper torment.
It's just mine. Just mine. I will not allow any woman near him. I will kill those whores.
A bloody pressure began to spread throughout the basement. Kaguya realized that Violet was raging uncontrollably and not returning to normal.
Lady Violet, those two, as you say, bitches, are your childhood friends.
Hearing Kaguya's words, the atmosphere around Violet weakened, but the sense of danger still lingered. Violet clenched her fists tightly and bit her lip in frustration. She struggled and squirmed in her momentary mental battle, but soon she calmed. She spoke in a tone devoid of emotions.
I know. That's why I don't want Victor to meet them. I don't want to have to kill my childhood friends.
Soon she brought her powers completely under control, and the atmosphere returned to normal. It was as if nothing happened. June made a gesture with her hands, and soon the barrier she put in place disappeared. June dusted off her hands and addressed the two vampires.
As always, the same amount of money in the same bank account. And I'll charge a little more for the teleportation tools. Those things aren't cheap. And please don't call me on such short notice. I was sunbathing in Maui.
She tossed 3 more green balls to Kaguya, who put them in her pocket. June nodded in thanks. The witch's services were cheap compared to the other witches she knew. So spending a little money to prevent Violet from screwing everything up was worth the cost. And besides, it wasn't her money. Violet retreated to her room as Natalia, the blonde maid, appeared from one of the basement's secret passages. She had been sipping tea in a hidden room, but decided to come out when she heard Violet's tantrum. She pulled Kaguya aside.
What do you intend to do?
Kaguya sighed.
As the perfect maid, I cannot let Lady Violet make a mistake that she will regret in the future. After all, the maid must always want the best for her master. Lady Violet is not taking the whole situation well, and her obsession with Victor is clouding her judgment. The ritual is absolute. All 3 women must join Lord Victor, because if they don't, Lord Victor may fall into a deep sleep.
Natalia gulped. Kaguya continued.
If this were to happen, Lady Violet would go mad.
Natalia nodded.
This whole situation is complicated, especially considering this has never happened before.
Kaguya agreed.
I have to get in touch with Lady Ruby and Lady Sasha. It's the only way.
Natalia was concerned.
It's not safe right now. Those Inquisition assholes are still out there.
Kaguya was undeterred.
I have no choice. We are running out of time.